In this video, we're doing a full in-depth review of the Samyang 45mm F1.8. We're breaking down everything that's important as usual, including the build, the value, the performance, and more, so that you guys can decide if this thing's right for you. Let's get into it. So today we're doing a review on the Samyang 45mm F1.8, a great little budget lens, and we're going to break down everything as usual that's important, starting with the build. But guys, if you haven't seen one of my videos before, my name's Stefan Malik and I do a lot of photography and filmmaking news reviews and tutorials. So if you love this video, if you enjoy this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get into it. Okay, diving right into the build and features of this lens, here's a few specs to get you going, just in case you're just starting to look at this lens. So having a quick look at an unboxing here, there's really not much in the box. A little bit of paperwork, and Samyang has included a nice little travel case for you. The first thing that you're going to notice about this lens is its size. It's a great size and weight, and it's actually smaller and lighter than the Sony 50mm f1.8. If you are looking for a cheaper 50mm lens, these two are probably going to be on your radar, so check out my comparison video on both of these. It also comes with a handy little lens hood, and with it installed, this lens only measures 2 3/4 inches long. Weighing only 162 grams means you can take this lens anywhere, throw it in your bag, and it's there when you need it. You won't find any buttons or switches on this lens to keep costs down, and the build is actually pretty decent, consisting of metal and plastic parts, although not quite as good as, say, the 85 f1.4, even though they're both from the AF series family. It has 49mm filter threads, and on the back you'll find a nice metal mount, although unfortunately it doesn't have a little rubber gasket for additional weather sealing. The small focus ring is grippy, turns easily and accurately, and is electronically coupled to your camera. As far as build goes as a whole, it's actually better than expected, especially when you consider the price. I give it 4 stars for build. So when it comes to value, like a lot of Samyang's lenses, this lens has tons of value. At around $350 to $400 American dollars, it's not the cheapest, and it's definitely not the most expensive. And there's really not that much to compare it to when you're looking for a full-frame 50mm for Sony E-mount in this price range. You've got the Sony FE 50mm 1.8, which is decent, but being Sony's cheapest full-frame lens, it does have some downsides. And if you are shopping around, you might see this Samyang 50mm f1.4. Stay away from it, it's horrible. Rating this lens in terms of value, I give it 4 stars. Okay, so let's talk performance. And this little guy performs pretty well for the money. First, let's have a look at autofocus. With its linear activator step motor technology, you get fast, accurate, smooth autofocus that's basically silent. I've tested this autofocus system in a number of situations, including some really nasty low light, and it's really surprised me. Being one of Samyang's newer lenses, they've really thought about autofocus when it comes to video, as it's becoming more important for people, and it definitely doesn't disappoint. It's not the world's fastest autofocus, but it's absolutely acceptable, making it great because of its size and weight for video work, on a gimbal, for travel, for all-around general use. Autofocus for stills is also fantastic, utilizing everything on my A7 III, including eye autofocus and face tracking. So looking at the sharpness and optics of this lens, wide open at f1.8, in the center is quite sharp, and into the corners, a little bit of softness but completely reasonable. Stop down to 2.8 for a noticeable improvement, and all the way down to 5.6 for pretty much the best sharpness you're going to get. That's going to continue all the way over to about f11, and after f11, you're going to suffer from diffraction and get a little bit of softness back. All in all, this is an absolutely great performer when it comes to optics. But do note, wide open at f1.8, there is a little bit of distortion and some heavy vignetting, which can be easily corrected with your profile correction in Lightroom. Next, let's have a look at this lens's bokeh, and it's actually quite beautiful. Being a 1.8, it's capable of a nice shallow depth of field, and having 9 aperture blades means the bokeh quality is going to be pretty nice, like you see here. 45mm is kind of a unique focal length. Samyang claims it's the new gold standard when it comes to field of view, providing 53-degree angle that most naturally fits the human field of vision. Although I'm also guessing that it was probably cheaper and more practical to engineer. Either way, I don't mind it at all. It's nice to have a little bit more on the wide side, and you can crop in if you need to. This lens is going to be a great standard focal length for anything you throw at it, including a classic portrait lens, but also wide enough to do some interesting landscape shots, and really anything that you can think of. Here's some pictures that I took with it. Hope you like them. Here's another look at how it performs with focus tracking. It's hard to find downsides when it comes to the performance of this lens, especially considering the size, the weight, and the price. For what it is, it does a great job, and rating performance as a whole, I give this thing 4 stars. Wrapping up, this is a decent little lens at a great price point, and like always, here's my personal pros and cons for this lens. There's definitely a lot more good than bad when it comes to this lens, and rating it as a whole, I give it 4 solid stars. And if you're a subscriber, you also know that I like to rate things on a scale from never think about again, to consider, to definitely buy. And in this case, if you're looking for a 50mm or so equivalent type lens on a budget, I would definitely strongly consider this one. Well, that's going to be it for this one, guys. That's my review of the Samyang 45 1.8. I hope this video helped you out, and I hope you liked it. And if you did, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and drop your questions and comments down below. If you want to buy this lens, there are affiliate links in the description for you that'll take you to where you need to go to buy it. And like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you in the next one.